The time is now 7 o'clock.
South Korea is submitting its bid to host the 2036 Summer Olympics. But unlike the last time we hosted the Summer Games back in 1988, the host city won't be Seoul, as Jeonbuk won the bid to be South Korea's pick, beating out Seoul. So this was a big win, not only for Jeonbuk, but if you think about it, all provincial regions, as Jeonbuk's strategy was alliance with other non-capital areas to win the bid. Balanced development is key, of course, and this is a prime case that shows us how partnership and alliance are important in this mutual development. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, March 3rd on BEFM, 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you're all doing well. And I know that most of you are probably in bed, but just to let you know, it is awfully windy, like really extremely windy. So that is why we have a public service announcement for you right now. The Ministry of the Interior and Safety has issued this public service announcement at 5:31 a.m. on March 3rd over Busan, Ulsan, and Gyeongnam. A high seas warning has been issued over the regions of eastern coastal waters of the South Seas. So we're talking about coastal waters of Busan, the eastern coastal waters of the city of Gyeoje City, and the southern coastal waters of the East Sea, meaning the coastal waters of Ulsan at 5:30 a.m. on March 3rd, 2025. Frequently check high seas information via TV, radio, smartphones, and others, and pay attention to disasters, preliminary warnings, and warnings from government offices. People fishing, camping, and vacationing in coastal areas should evacuate to safe places nearby. Do not go to breakwaters and seawalls where there are risks of high waves. Do not go to the beaches, as there are risks of getting swept by the waves. For fishing boats sailing or operating, contact vessels nearby or relevant institutions, such as the fishery radio station, and evacuate. For aquaculture and aquatic cultivation facilities, fix down your facilities and reinforce them with support in advance so they don't get swept away in high waves and strong winds. And this was a message from the Ministry of the Interior and Safety. So once again, if you are heading out today, be forewarned. It is definitely a windy day. And as a public service announcement that I just read said, try not to go near any waters or embankments, anything like that. So back to our main topic. Oh, the Olympics. Are you old enough to remember the 1988 Seoul Summer Olympics? Because, I mean, that was kind of like the milestone moment, I think, for South Korea and especially Seoul. So the country is trying to recreate this by hosting the 2036 Summer Olympics. So it sounds so far off, but, not really when you think about it. And the competition to be the candidate site for South Korea was fierce. So even here domestically, to get chosen as a site, with the final choices coming down to Seoul, the previous host, and also Jeonbuk. But in a surprise decision, the Korean Sports and Olympic Committee picked Jeonbuk in a landslide vote. 49 votes for Jeonbuk versus 11 for Seoul. So the question is this: how did Jeonbuk beat Seoul with, all of its experience in hosting major global events and infrastructure? So Jeonbuk's emphasis was on regional alliance and balanced development. So their strategy was based on the fact that cities that won the hosting bid in recent years have focused on the same theme: alliance. So the International Olympic Committee, IOC, seeks to reduce hosting costs by making use of infrastructure for both financial and environmental reasons. Therefore, Jeonbuk emphasized that it can distribute the infrastructure away from the capital area and across the country. It added that if Jeonbuk does indeed, win the bid, it can hold some events in Daegu, in Gwangju, Chungcheong, and Jeonnam, with some events in Seoul as well. Once again, the key to regional balance isn't about one particular city or province, doing better than all the other areas, but I think it is definitely about the regions working together to kind of raise each other up. So that's where we're hoping that synergy effect, that we can see this, assuming, of course, that it is chosen as the host site. So really exciting to think about. That's coming up, of course, in 2036, but the decision is made much earlier than that. So we're going to continue to follow this story. Now for a text topic. Today, the reason why most of you are in bed right now, today is a substitute holiday for March 1st, Independence Movement Day. So what is something you love or feel proud about South Korea? Okay, so we're keeping it simple. 자, 3.1절 대체휴일이잖아요, 오늘. 그래서 내가 한국에서 가장 자랑스러운 좋아하는 것은? Ooh, I'm waiting for your responses. I'm curious as to what you think, what you're proud of, what you love about South Korea. You can send them into BEFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. So go to the YouTube platform. Type in BEFM or 부산영어방송 to find our channel. Click on that and you can chime in, join in the live stream. You can chat with our other waivers. Also, pound 9050 shop 9050 on your phone. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on Kakao Talk to add us as a friend. Go to that feature, 친구 찾기, and then 추가, right, to do that. Find BEFM or 부산영어방송. Same thing there, send in your messages, your photos as well. The ways you can listen to us, so many different ways. 90.5 and 103.3 FM. That's if you're in the Busan area. On the radio, of course. Like I just said, we're streaming live on YouTube. You can watch again at your leisure. We have our own BFM app and also the Patbang app where you can check out the Wa글와글 segment. Looking ahead to our Monday morning together, what do we have for you? We have Showbiz Buzz with Michael. Later on, Bobby's joining us for Business Perspectives for our special interview. I think this is a challenge for adults and kids alike. Putting your phone down, like putting it away, like a detox, getting away from it. I mean, how difficult is that, even for like an entire day? Well, there's a recent study that says that, if you don't have internet access on your smartphone for 2 weeks, this might even reduce depressive symptoms. So we're going to look into this, plus all the questions we need to ask and information we need to know about our smart devices and just, being healthier in this digital age. So that's coming up in hour number 2. I'll be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:08. These are today's headlines. Trump orders probe on lumber imports for possible new tariffs. U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the Commerce Department to launch an investigation into the national security harm posed by lumber imports, laying the groundwork for new tariffs that could affect South Korea. Food expenses for lower income class jump 40% over 5 years. Statistics Korea data showed yesterday that people in the bottom 20% of the income bracket spent a monthly average of 434,000 won on food last year, up by 38.6% from 2019 amid soaring food inflation. Heavy snow and rain forecast for parts of South Korea. Heavy snow and rain are forecast for Gangwon, parts of Gyeonggi, Chungbuk, and Gyeongbuk today, with up to 5 centimeters per hour of wet snow. Girl statue removed from German university to be reinstalled on Women's Day. A girl statue symbolizing victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery will be installed at a church in Germany next week, 2 years after it was removed from the nearby University of Kassel, its original home. UK announces European peace plan for Ukraine. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer unveiled a 4-step plan to guarantee peace in Ukraine following a summit with European leaders in London. These are today's headlines. It's now time to check in with Sue for Busan Updates. Let's say hi to her first. Good morning.
Good morning, Catherine.
I hope you had a good weekend.
I did. Yes.
What did you do? Can you share a little glimpse into the weekend of Sue? What did you do?
I did some cleaning.
Oh, cleaning.
It made me feel so much better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're talking light cleaning or deep cleaning?
Kind of in the middle. I wanted to go finish the whole thing, but I just ran out of time.
Oh, really? Okay.
And energy.
That's important, the energy part, especially during the weekend, right? Well, today we're talking about what you're proud of, what you really love about South Korea. So what is it? What do you like?
So 2 things came to my mind.
Yes.
So I appreciate 빨리빨리 culture. So
그거 하려고 그랬는데.
I know, sorry.
Sue. Okay.
So everything is about convenience and get
that's
things
true.
done efficiently.
Okay.
So, at the restaurant, you
Yes.
just press the button.
The button. I love that button.
And then people come or the robots come, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And another one is security system. So I just need to use a car kit at the entrance of the apartment.
Yes.
And, sometimes you don't have to use the physical key.
In North America, they
Yes.
still use most
They
places.
still
They
do.
also lock and key,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, those are 2 great ones. But I was going to say the 빨리빨리 culture. Okay, well, you took a good idea. That's fine. I'll come up with another one.
All
We're going
right.
to jump into our first update. Busan is experiencing a severe economic slump, unfortunately, and there is a surge in unsold housing, and real estate transactions are apparently plummeting. So let's get details on this.
In January, the number of unsold completed homes considered high-risk properties went up by over 20%. And this is way above the national average of 6.5%. And at the same time, real estate transactions nearly ground to a halt, dropping over 28% compared to December.
Right.
And according to the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport's January 2025 housing statistics,
Right.
the total number of unsold homes in Busan was 4,526, marking a 4.1% decrease from the previous month. The number of housing transactions in January stood at just 2126, and this is a 28.2% decline from December.
Yes, and so what about the housing prices? Tell us about this.
Apartment prices have been falling for 33 straight months since mid-2022. But interestingly, 전세 prices have been climbing for the past 7 months. So 전세 is renters have to put down a long-term lease deposit. And the increase was mainly seen in Yeonsan and Geojedong in Yeonjaegu district, and Millak and Mangmi-dong in Suyeonggu district, and Daeyeon and Yongho-dong in Namgu district. And many people are choosing to rent instead of buying because of economic uncertainty.
Yes.
So experts are warning that if things keep going this way, it won't just be Busan's economy that suffers. It could have a ripple effect nationwide. And they're urging the government to step in with real impactful solutions like financial support and tax breaks to attract investors and boost the market.
I see. So that's the status, a snapshot of what's happening with housing prices and real estate transactions here in Busan. All right, next up, let's talk about the birth rate. I mean, we've been reporting that the birth rate is, has rebounded a little bit. However, elementary schools here in downtown Busan are closing.
So due to declining birth rates and a shrinking school-age population, 2 elementary schools in Junggu district in Busan, Juwon and Gasan elementary schools closed this year. And Juwon Elementary School held its graduation and closure ceremonies on the same day. And as the number of students steadily decreased each year, the total enrollment dropped below 100 last year. So reaching 99 students.
Yes.
And except for the graduating students, the remaining students will be reassigned to nearby schools and starting this month. And Gasan Elementary School also closed its doors as well. And this school was a small-scale institution with only 36 students in total.
Yeah, so how many schools are experiencing this problem in our city?
So the number of miniature schools in Busan,
Yes.
those with fewer than 10 incoming first grade students, is increasing, rising from 16 in 2021 to 29 this year. And for the third consecutive year, at least one school in Busan had no new first grade students and couldn't hold an entrance ceremony.
Yes.
The Busan Metropolitan Office of Education acknowledged the growing number of school closures and small-scale schools and stated that it will focus on strengthening educational capabilities to ensure smooth curriculum operations in these small schools.
Yes. So this is a real issue, and we're feeling it in our schools, evidence of this. Let's move on and talk about the Busan Traditional Arts Center, which will be hosting the Intangible Cultural Heritage Traditional Culture Experience class. So tell us about this.
So this program is part of the National Heritage Administration's Transmission Education Center Revitalization Project.
Yes.
And it's been sponsored since 2020. And the city has been carrying out this initiative to preserve and pass down intangible cultural heritage in the functional category within Busan.
I see. Well, what kind of hands-on experiences can people partake in?
So the program is led by skilled artisans in various fields like embroidery, ceramics, Buddhist painting, traditional shoemaking, calligraphy painting, kite making, wood carving, and decorative woodwork.
Yes.
And people can even take home high-quality handcrafted pieces after attending the program. And in addition to this, the program has introduced 4 new activities, which are embroidery, pop grip case crafting. So pop grip is griptok. You know, the phone stand.
Yes.
And painting 단청 patterned coasters. So 단청 is Korean style, like fancy decorative coloring on artifacts. And decorating traditional folding fans, 부채요, and calligraphy hanging scroll painting. So hanging scroll is like a 족자. And in particular, the traditional kite making and calligraphy hanging scroll painting programs are designed for families.
Ooh, nice. So I love the whole coasters thing. By the way, coasters are the little cup 받침대. You know, on your coffee table, you don't want to get the little cup mark when the ice melts or something like that. So when is it going to run, this program?
So it's for a long time. So
Yes.
it starts from April 9th to
Sure.
November 8th at the Busan Traditional Arts Center. And registrations is opening on the 1st of each month on a first come and first served basis. And participants can sign up through the Busan Traditional Arts Center website. And group classes are also available. And external educational sessions can be arranged through prior consultation with the program coordinator. And both tuition and material costs are free.
Well, that's definitely good. Free is good, and you get to make something amazing. Lastly, the city announced that an additional 9 suppliers have been selected to provide 5 new items. This is all part of the Hometown Love Donation program's thank you gifts, right?
Yes. So one of the standout thank you gifts this time is 짭짜리 tomato. You know, this is a very
Daejeon.
famous, special type tomato.
Yes.
Only grown in Daejeon, Gangseok district. And another gift is a traditional sweets set from the famous 이응용 bakery, along with gift certificates. Plus, there's an exciting addition, a 5-star luxury hotel stay and buffet vouchers for Haeundae. And this is for those who make generous amounts of donations. And
Yes.
starting this year, the annual donation limit has been increased to 20 million won, 2천만 won per person.
So I guess the more you donate, I guess you will have a higher chance of getting one of those thank you gifts.
Yes.
So we thank you, though, anybody who makes these donations, by the
Right.
way. And to celebrate this, the city is launching, a Spring Busan Hometown Love Donation King event.
Yes, it's a king event. And from March 28th to 31st, anyone who donates 100,000 won or more will receive 2 types of gifts. So basic benefits and additional prizes. So for the basic benefits,
Yes.
It includes a full refund of the donation amount for year-end tax settlement and a thank you gift worth 30% of the donation amount.
Right.
And for the additional prizes, people can get a 10,000 won mobile coffee coupons, and it will be given to donors who are at multiples of 5.
So explain.
So if you are the 5th donor, 10th donor, the multiples of 5.
5. Okay,
then you
okay.
can get the coffee coupon plus either 대저 짭짜리 tomatoes or 한돈 pork belly. And these are for donors who fall within multiples of 10. So you need some luck for this. So the 2 additional prizes will be given to a total of 400 people up
Yes.
to the 2,000th donor. And the winners will be announced on the official website and notified via individual messages on April 10th.
Oh, so once again, you do need a little bit of luck, right?
Yes.
But still, I mean, you're not really giving just to win a prize. That's not like the nature of giving, but nonetheless, a little bonus there. So thank you for going over all the updates. And of course, take care. Don't get blown away.
Okay.
We'll check in with you tomorrow.
I'll try. Thank you.
All right, everybody. This was Sue with Busan Updates. And now to you with our traffic and weather. It is now 7:20. Here's your traffic report. Well, the roads are much clearer than usual on account of this being a holiday because it is Monday. But there is still some traffic on the Dongso overpass from Bumnukor ramp to the old Kaegum toll gate. Also looking slow on Mandokdero from the Minam intersection to Mandok intersection. Also congestion detected on Jungangdero from Seomyeon intersection to Songgong three-way intersection. As for the weather, it is drizzling across Busan. The current temperature reads 2 degrees Celsius. But heavy winds are bringing down the real field temperatures to -3 degrees. A daytime high will go up to just 7 today. Looking across the nation, again, heavy snow in the northern parts of the region. And this is going to be a wet kind of snow, wet snow, which is much heavier than the typical drier snow. The snow and rain are reducing visibility and making the roads really slippery. So please be careful when you're driving and just even walking about. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time for News Digest. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Are you sad? Did you cry?
Why?
Sending Hannah?
Oh, I was like, why? I had a great weekend. So no. Oh, by the way, my sister is in Germany right now. She's on a
Yes.
6-month student exchange. And that brings me to, no, I'm not sad. Like my parents me and my dad had a little about who's going to use her room. I was like, I need an extra study. And he's like, I'm going to use the bed. I'm like, well, he won.
Okay.
Because, it being his home and all, but whatever.
What do you love about Korea?
Oh, yeah. So
sorry I
was we were helping her move for 6 months and trying to remind her that Germany,
Yes.
although lovely, hoping to visit, fingers crossed, is not Korea. So no, you cannot leave your phone on the table at a cafe and willingly go to the bathroom. No, please be careful. I know you have 2 giant suitcases, but just don't leave one to walk it down the stairs. Just be very vigilant. And she's been complaining this is why I don't miss her, because in the age of, the internet, we've been talking all weekend long about how there are so many train delays. Although, there are train delays in Korea as well. But, I've got to appreciate the K 양심. The honesty. People just don't leave
양심.
stuff. Yeah.
That's
People
true.
can leave stuff and they won't take it.
Right.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
left my phone in many a public restroom.
Right?
Still there when I go back.
Girl, you leave your card. I know for a fact you leave your card.
I leave my credit card everywhere.
Hansel and Gretel, like a breadcrumb of her
cat
credit
all over.
card. That I just, yeah. I think I've been asked by like our neighborhood cafe owner, can you bring this back to Kat? I'm like, sure. Or was it you? Was it 피디님? It's like
both
one
of
of
us.
these two. He's like, can you bring
We're
it
the
back?
worst.
I'm like,
it's not just my credit card. There's like a coffee coupon thing, the stamp thingy. I've left that there.
I should
And,
just use it.
So anything
one of these days.
Every time anything is missing, I call the coffee shop 사장님 죄송합니다.
Oh my
혹시
혹시.
and he always goes,
Did
네?
I?
He goes, no, nothing's here. I was like, okay. But anyhow, we digress. We got to jump into News Digest and talk about these tariffs, the U.S. tariffs. The U.S. Commerce Department has announced that it is imposing tariffs on aluminum cables from South Korea.
Right. So these actually have nothing to do with Trump's tariffs. These are
Right.
from the previous Biden administration. But the
Okay.
United States has decided to impose a 52.79% anti-dumping tariff. On top of that, another 33.44% in what's called a countervailing tariff. This is 한계 관세 on aluminum wires that are made in China but are kind of circumvented through third countries to be
Yes.
imported to the United States. So the U.S. Commerce Department conducted surveys into these products, and that goes back again to the Biden administration.
Yes.
And it ruled that South Korea and Vietnam, they create wires using aluminum that's imported from China,
Right.
but they will partially and only partially manufacture them in their respective countries, but then they can therefore tack on a made in South Korea or made in Vietnam tag to be exported to the U.S. So the Commerce Department decided to impose the same tariffs on these companies as they do to Chinese companies,
Right.
because these firms are 100% backed by China. So their investment is 100% from Beijing. So there's only one company in Busan out of the entire country, Busan Cable Engineering, that'll be impacted. And this would be the first trade sanction imposed upon a South Korean company under the second Trump administration.
Yes.
And again, that's because a Chinese company owns 100% of the shares for this Busan firm.
And then the same thing may be happening for lumber products, like I just said in our news,
Right. So let's get into more details about that. So this is 목재. So President Donald Trump, he ordered for the Commerce Department to investigate the impact that imported wood products would have on U.S. national security.
Yes.
So Trump told reporters this is back in February, that he was considering a 25% tariff on lumber imports. So a White House official told reporters that countries globally, they produce a surplus, so a lot of lumber, and then they will kind of pay for that via government subsidies, but then ultimately, quote unquote, dump that onto the U.S. And their claim is that this hurts the U.S.'s ability to produce lumber domestically. Thus, it's a national security problem.
Okay.
So the official first named Canada, Germany, and Brazil, but they also mentioned South Korea and China as countries where there's a problem of U.S. lumber being exported to these countries, but then coming back in forms of finished products. So that was South Korea and China being mentioned there.
Okay.
And one example was kitchen cabinets. But then in terms of what kind of impacts will this have on the South Korean industry?
Sure.
Well, a little bit of good news. South Korea exported only about $30 million worth, or 43.6 billion won worth of furniture to the U.S. last year. So it's not a huge market that'll be impacted, but still. Yeah.
Right, but for the business owners, big impact. All right, so we're going to leave the tariffs there for now. Oh, goodness. From the weekend, the Oval Office argument that was seen and heard around the world between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, with an appearance by Vice President J.D. Vance
Well,
as
he
well.
started it, didn't he, really?
Let's... Yeah.
All right, so we're going to listen to the clip to see why the entire world was talking about it, and then we'll dive into it.
You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers.
To you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
Doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
that
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was.
Okay, so there was a lot of talking over the other person, obviously. So let's walk through what happened.
All right, so let's rewind it all the way back to Friday local time when President Zelensky arrived in Washington, D.C. And the expectation was that they were going to have a summit, a press conference, and would sign this minerals deal. None of that happened, really. So this was at a sit-down initially with President Donald Trump. Vice President J.D. Vance was also there when things fell apart in an extraordinary manner because diplomatically, no matter what happens behind closed doors, maybe this is what happens. Now we got a glimpse.
Yes.
Things are cordial. Things are very smooth, at least when the cameras are
rolling.
on. And
Yeah.
the thing is that this happened in front of reporters, the White House press pool. So the meeting did actually begin with 30 minutes of the usual cordial formalities. And then J.D. Vance kind of threw the first punch, so to speak, saying that the path to peace is engaging in diplomacy, saying that this is what his president, Donald Trump, is doing. And then Zelensky reminded them that before Russia's full-scale invasion, there was a period of diplomacy which failed, referring to the ceasefire of the Crimea in 2019. And then Zelensky asked, what kind of diplomacy, JD, are you talking about? What do you mean? And at this point, things became really tense. And Vance replied, the kind that'll end the destruction of your country. So the U.S. definitely took like the upper hand of we're the ones helping you.
Yes.
We're the ones like funding your defense. So ultimately, the whole thing came down to Trump and Vance demanding Zelensky and Ukraine to show more gratitude for the years and, who knows how much in terms of financial support for the U.S. from the U.S. But then the Ukrainian president, he didn't take it sitting down, colloquially, metaphorically speaking, and he pushed back that the more powerful partners, namely the U.S., should work harder to agree upon a ceasefire with Putin. And then the whole thing was that he was being disrespectful and this was a word that was thrown around multiple times.
Okay.
And as you heard, Trump also told Zelensky that he doesn't have any cards to play, that he's gambling with millions of lives and also gambling with the Third World War. He even attacked his predecessor. You heard it, calling Biden not a very smart man. Later on in the conversation, he called him a very stupid president. Things unraveled quickly. Ultimately, Zelensky was asked to leave the White House without a press conference.
Oh, yes. So that's what happened in a nutshell. And once again, cameras rolling. So let's go over the why, though. Why did this happen in the first place?
Right. So we know what happened, but then as for the why, we have to rewind it all the way back to 2019. So because it didn't happen all of a sudden. So 2019, we're still in President Trump's first term. This is when Trump's side was trying to get that scandal kind of fueling with his rival Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, that he allegedly lobbied Ukraine or Ukrainian companies regarding this energy firm. Those allegations turned out to be, well, at least he was never indicted on it. At that point, President Trump called President Zelensky and asked him to look into these allegations. And then that call became, because that was basically one leader trying to pressure another global leader, another country's leader to look into domestic matters.
Yes.
So that became grounds for Trump's first impeachment. So he has a sour spot there. And then Zelensky, throughout the second presidential election between Biden and Trump, continually sided with Biden because Biden is one who was very pro-Ukraine. And he said last year that he doesn't think Trump really knows how to stop the war. Pundits also point to the fashion aspect of this, the apparel, the clothing, because this is again, when, an outfit is not just an outfit. So Zelensky, if you've seen the photos or you've just saw the picture on our YouTube, he was dressed in a military-style black sweatshirt. And that's what you would normally see him when he makes public appearances ever since the war broke out.
Right.
That's in solidarity with the soldiers. However, Trump did not like that. The first thing Trump said to Zelensky when he stepped out of the car, "You're all dressed up today."
And he was being
obviously sarcastic.
Yes.
Right. So this has actually, it's not just about Trump. It's been a long source of irritation for Republicans and MAGA politicians and a conservative talking point. And actually during that meeting, before everything fell apart, a conservative reporter asked Zelensky why wasn't he wearing a suit, even said, do you own a suit? Which is also, you could say, in terms of respect, is that really how, something to ask a foreign leader? But then Zelensky said, I will wear a costume after this war will finish. So that may have been kind of the backdrop to everything that went down.
I see. So we have a better perspective. There was tension just
So much
upon his
tension.
arrival.
Right,
yes,
right.
Yes. All right. So it's been a long weekend with world leaders trying to come back from this because, this is what everybody was talking about like all weekend.
Everybody. So European leaders are in London right now. They just held a summit, as you said. And by the way, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, he made it a point to roll out the red carpet. There was a rows and rows of Brits lining up the streets to welcome him.
Right.
And they gave him a loan for military supplies. By the way, the only truly happy country right now is Russia, with the foreign ministry spokesperson calling Zelensky, quote, a scumbag and a liar. So this is an interesting dynamic we're seeing.
It was an interesting weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. A fire broke out at a home in Incheon, leaving a 12-year-old in critical condition. And it turns out the girl's home was in a vulnerable state.
Right. So this is a story about social safety nets and the welfare system because on February 26th, this huge fire broke out of a villa where a 12-year-old girl was home alone during winter break.
Okay.
She, by the way, she's still unconscious. The father is suffering from, and this is not related to fire, but the state of the home and why was she alone? Well, the father is suffering from kidney failure, so he was at a dialysis appointment, 신장 투석.
Okay.
The mom, now being the breadwinner of the family, she was working at a nearby restaurant. With these issues, and the father lost his job last year, the girl was apparently on the list of the Health and Welfare Ministry's Children's Support Program as an at-risk child.
Oh, really? Okay. So, through no fault of the parents,
No.
because one was very sick and one was working, but it does seem that there wasn't much follow-up if she was on that list.
Right. So Incheon Seogu District last September, they conducted a home visit to check in, gave the family some promotional material.
Okay.
But that was pretty much it. So the family's financial situation was also in this odd gray area where on paper, they're not in need, but in reality, they
are.
obviously were.
Yeah.
Because the family was behind on rent, utilities, they were at risk for losing their home, on medical stability. They had received multiple notices about their water and electricity getting shut off. But because the mom works, she has a source of income. Because the dad needs to drive to kidney dialysis, they have a car. So on paper, it didn't seem like they were in need. So yet again, this has raised issue with these potential blind spots with families that may be falling through the cracks.
So unfortunate to hear about this particular story, but hopefully putting the spotlight on this family and the story.
Right. And many
that'll bring
others who
changes.
might be in a similar situation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for all the news. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right, back to you, the waivers out there. Real quick for a text topic. Since today, we are marking it as a substitute holiday for March 1st, Independence Movement Day. So real simple. What is something you love or feel proud about? South Korea. So I'm just going to read one real quick and I got to get to Kat's pick. So from Young, who says, good morning. The thing I'm most proud of in Korea is the perseverance and unity of the Korean people, which made our country a global leader. But what I love the most, he writes, definitely substitute holidays like today, because who doesn't love a day off? And of course, Korea's delivery system. Whatever I order today, I get it by tonight or at the latest tomorrow morning. So those are some great points that you made. So thank you for your message, Young. I hope you're doing well. Let's get to Kat's pick for today. For today's Kat's Pick, I want to talk about something that's been reported in several outlets, but this clip is from CNN. North Korea opening its borders to at least a small group of Western tourists this week for the first time in 5 years. Here's a clip from CNN.
At first glance, this could be any elementary school recital. Until you notice the backdrop.
It's not until moments where you see a group of 7-year-old children doing synchronized dancing in front of a giant, LED screen showing missiles, blowing up boats, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm in North Korea.
British travel influencer Mike O'Kennedy, one of the first Western tourists to visit North Korea since before the pandemic. State-controlled Western tourism is making a limited return to Rason, an isolated region near China and Russia.
One of the most interesting parts for me was that, given the fact that tourists haven't been allowed in for 5 years, there was a sense of isolation in the air.
Strict COVID-19 protocols kept already isolated North Korea even more sealed off from the world.
But there seems to be a rumor that COVID-19 got into the country via a balloon sent from South Korea that was infected with COVID-19.
Bizarre theories aside, American tour guide Justin Martell says COVID paranoia is still everywhere. And yet, despite 5 years of near total isolation, North Koreans aren't entirely in the dark.
So they're aware that Donald Trump is now the president once again. And they are aware of the fact that talks broke down last time during the first Trump presidency. So when I asked the question, would you like Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump to meet again? The response I got was, if Kim Jong-un wants to do it, then of course we support it.
He says traveling to the secret state is not for everyone. Sightseeing feels more like a school field trip. Itineraries are tightly controlled. Unauthorized photos are forbidden. But any glimpse of the hermetically sealed nation is social media gold.
I am in North Korea.
Which may explain why so many social media influencers are snatching up seats.
So as you heard in that clip, very limited. So some travelers from mostly Europe, UK, Canada, Greece, New Zealand, France, etc. The U.S., as you heard, American citizens are banned from going. So this is a glimpse into North Korea. So reclusive, right? And the fact that they're very almost paranoid about COVID-19 still tells you, I think, a full lengthy story there. Cat's pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
It is time for Showbiz Buzz. We have Michael in the studio. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's
Yes.
windy up there.
It is, huh?
I almost got blown away.
Oh, no. 너무
Almost.
크게 거짓말이었으면 어떡해요?
지금 들리셨죠?
속으로 얘기해줘.
I think with the waivers heard it. Yeah. I mean, that's
She's as soon as the words came out, she's like 거짓말.
저희가 무지 친합니다. 이렇게.
네, 가족이에요, 가족.
We're family.
No. Our it's obviously a public holiday, so the underground parking is close to our building. So I had to park on the first floor in one of the designated parking spots, and like literally when I was getting out of the car, 차 문 있잖아요. Like it was like it as soon as I opened, it went like I thought it was gonna get blown off. Whoosh, like the blown off. It was like kind of bad.
Almost went like the door got broke or something. Right?
And then my hair, oh my gosh. Like I had to like tame it down
my hair,
after.
yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, text topic. What do you like or love about South Korea? Since we're marking 3.1, Independence
very
Day, but
important.
we're talking about our love or something you're really proud about South Korea. What would you say?
The health insurance. I mean,
You know what, though?
you got to be realistic.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you've lived abroad or are from not from South Korea, William, are you still listening? William, you know what I'm talking about, right?
It's always, for me, it's always health insurance. I mean, like I hear a lot. I didn't live abroad before, so I wouldn't really know. But
You lived in the States when you were little?
like 2 years, but like that was back in elementary school.
Okay. So you don't remember much.
I don't remember
Yeah.
much, but
Right.
I still, read a lot and heard a lot from around
Right.
to know that it's very rare to have this kind of system.
Right, where you don't have to go to your primary care physician, your PCP, to get authorization to go see a specialist. You can just go directly.
You know, that sounds very, very, very complicated for me.
I
for
used
me,
to
it's just go to the hospital with my 신분증, right? With my ID card, and that's it.
And it's all universal, like it's in the system.
It's
like
all
I used to
universal.
work at a doctor's office as a part-time job in college. So I know how it goes.
Wow.
I've seen people come in like with a broken leg and they had to get authorization
Oh my goodness.
to go see an orthopedic.
See, that's something
like,
that I cannot
orthopedic
imagine
surgeon.
at all. As a
It's just-
Korean, I mean, that's
I'm sure
something that
it's
you never see
changed.
here in the country.
I'm sure it's changed. I hope it's changed since then, but that was back in the day. But
Yeah.
all right, we're going to jump into our first story. So what's this one about?
Yeah, so South Korean director Bong Joon-ho, Mickey 17,
Yes.
dominated advanced ticket sales on the day of its premiere Friday, data showed. According to the Korean Film Council,
Yes.
Mickey 17 secured 319,000 reservations, capturing 68.5% of total bookings. So that's almost all of the bookings. Yeah. Mickey 17 led by a wide margin, followed by the Korean animation Exorcism Chronicles The Beginning at 5%.
Yes.
And Captain America Brave New World at 4.8%. Mickey 17 is Bong Joon-ho's adoption of Edward Ashton's novel Mickey 7, featuring Robert Pattinson as a young, heavily indebted man who joins an intergalactic expedition as an expendable.
So what's an expendable?
So he's like, he's not wanted anymore. Like he's like I guess like some sort of garbage. I mean, 너무 센 단어인가?
I know, but
how
then
do you
like
explain it? Like
someone who, but that's what expendable means. You're not
it means-
necessary. You're
Yeah,
kind of like,
it does. It does. It's a tragic word. It's a tragic expression, but yeah, he's an
Yes.
expendable going on this intergalactic expedition. He's a worker doomed to labor until death, only to be revived through reprinting technology.
Okay.
So like a sci-fi component right there.
Yes.
Bong Joon-ho is scheduled to meet with local audiences next weekend for special discussion sessions about the film.
Yes.
I actually watched this video between John Park, Chon Bak, and Robert Pattinson because Robert Pattinson came to Korea.
Yes.
And he stayed a couple of days, I think. I don't know if he's still staying, but like Robert Pattinson has no social media account, not even a single one.
Right.
And like John Park and like Robert together took us like a Reels video, and that was his life's first time taking a
Really?
yeah like taking a short video. So
Okay.
that's some 알뜰상식 that we can do. It's a fun fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like.
Anyways, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So interesting. The premise of this film, and it's like anything with Bong Joon-ho's name attached to it. There are going to be people watching. So
And I think it's Bong Joon-ho's first large-scale film. Like
since Parasite.
yeah, Parasite and like the previous films, they're like a much smaller scale.
Right. That's
like the
true.
worldview and everything. Like, but this one is big. This one's huge. It's
Right.
intergalactic.
And so
Crying out loud.
and like the budget, I'm sure was
Yeah, the budget too. I mean, like.
compared to his previous films, I'm sure expanded quite a bit. That one has expanded, and he is definitely not expendable, right? Let's move on to our next item.
Yeah. Next item.
Yes.
Rose, a member of the group Blackpink, has left the Korea Music Copyright Association, and this is arousing a little bit of controversy.
Okay.
The reason cited is the desire for more efficient management of music copyrights, but some have a negative view over this.
Yes.
But for Rose, who focuses a lot on global activities instead of domestic one, this decision is considered a strategic one. So Rose's contract with the association, or KOMCA in short, officially ended on the 31st of last month.
Sure.
After applying to terminate the trust agreement with KOMCA on October 31st of last year, she went through a 3-month grace period. And then on, Rose's copyright management will be handled by an American publisher. In September last year, she signed a contract with Atlantic Records. It's a label under Warner Music Group in the
Huge,
States,
right.
yeah, which collaborates with the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, ASCAP in short, which takes care of the copyrights in the States.
So why is this controversial though?
Basically, like people are arguing that Rosé is leaving the association in Korea for a bigger one.
Yes.
Basically, maybe there is some kind of trust issues. Because there is a precedent
yes.
of Komka, I guess, sort of having this kind of a feud between an artist over the way they manage the copyright. So I think that the one good example is 서태지. I don't know if you remember him.
Yes, I do.
I do too. I mean,
그 정도는 알죠.
Yeah, just
right.
asking. But it's interesting that this is the first time actually in 22 years that a Korean artist has left Komka since 서태지 did so. So 서태지 was the first Korean artist to leave Komka.
Okay.
But 서태지 had a kind of a different reason for leaving the agency. 서태지 withdrew from Komka after the organization approved an album by another artist who arranged his song Come Back Home without consent.
Oh, so he had issue with that.
Yes. So 서태지 raised an issue with the way his work was used without his consent, highlighting the distrust in Komka's copyright management as the primary reason for his departure. Rosé's situation, though, is a little bit different.
Okay.
So there is a music industry source explaining that when a song that Rosé participated in as a songwriter or a composer is used globally, copyright fees are collected through Komka in Korea, as well as through ASCAP or BMI in the States.
Okay.
So if copyright management is split like this, there are double fees that occur.
Okay.
So since the settlement period with American organizations takes less time in some cases, this approach can be more efficient for artists who focus on overseas markets. So this is a little bit different from 서태지 because 서태지 used to focus his work in domestically.
Right.
But for Rosé, she's a global star. She goes global when it comes to performance.
Sure.
And the copyright management issues can be a little bit more tricky. Komka commented on Rosé's departure, explaining that Korea music copyrights for performances, broadcast, transmissions are managed all at once. In contrast, in the U.S., there are different organizations that handle these tasks individually. So they say that it takes over a year sometimes to transfer data from the US to Korea for copyright management to verify and match them. So since many of Rosé's songs were made in the US and published in the US, it seems that she wanted to minimize this process.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, like that makes sense for me. Like personally, it makes sense.
Business-wise, I don't understand the controversy. However, because except for that one, 서태지 artist, it's like everybody is kind of sticking to...
Yes, there is that memory.
Yeah.
If somebody leaves an organization, especially Komka, I mean, there are bad memories, and I respect that as well. But this time, it's different. Rosé is currently one of the hottest solo artists in the U.S.
Right.
Her latest single, 아파트, ranked 3rd on the Billboard Hot 100, the highest rank for a K-pop female artist, and has maintained a top 10 position. Her first album, Rosie, entered Billboard's main album chart, the Billboard 200, at number 3.
Yes.
Setting a new record for the highest rank by a K-pop female artist.
Yes.
Currently, Blackpink has renewed their team contract with YG Entertainment, but are managing their individual activities independently. Jennie, Jisoo, Lisa each established their own agencies, while Rosé signed an exclusive contract with the Black label led by Teddy.
Yes.
The members are also pursuing international activities under different labels. Rosé, as mentioned, is signed with Atlantic Records under Warner Music, which also includes artists like Bruno Mars,
that's right,
Coldplay, and Ed Sheeran. Jennie has formed a partnership with Columbia Records under Sony Music Entertainment, while Lisa is with RCA Records, also under Sony Music.
Yes.
Jisoo signed with Warner Records, part of Warner Music, one of the top 3 global record companies.
Yes. So thanks for an in-depth look at this, because it's very important to understand the reasoning behind her decision. And also, it's time to let you go, but I hear aren't the Oscars like coming on real soon?
Yes, in a couple of hours, I think.
Yes.
And Demi Moore, that's the keyword for tonight's Oscars.
Will she finally win?
Will she finally win? It's going to be her first Oscar.
I believe so. Yes, yes.
In a couple decades, right? So
first one ever for her. So
yeah, first one ever for her. So wish her good luck.
Well, thank you for all the showbiz buzz, and we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
And with that, let's get to our final song. This is Manse by 17 as requested by Benny.
I'm so stupid. 소리서 make me. 네가 내 왼팔에 발장기지. 꼬물리면 왜 이래? 마치 영이 없는 철수같이. 어떻게 머릿속에 가득 할 말이 많은데 내가 대체 맞춰. 그녀를 노래 썼는 거 한번 찍었으면 yeah I got a slam dunk. 너만 여주가 돼줌 이건 명작로. 송도 빛이 젖은 말 한마디 꺼내기가 왜 힘이 듭니까? 아버지도 어머니께 이랬습니까? 뚝뚝한 내가 이젠 평소에도 널 걱정 내 길을 걸을 때 baby 위험하니까 꼭 안쪽으로 걸어 잠깐 소녀야 절대 넌 작은 내게 녹지 마 내가 질투나잖아 잠깐 소녀야 지금부터 널 내 거라고 부를 거야 조심해서 girl 이제부터 나를 붙여 my lady 네가 나를 볼 때면 매일 너를 꿈꾸지 너라는 꽃이 피었습니다 너라는 꽃을 바라보니까 슬렀다 놨다 하지 맙시다 애가 타니까 너는 네 어디 넌왜 잔디밭에 제대로 된 엉일정 내 눈에는 너뿐이야 누가 있습니까 뚝뚝한 내가 이젠 평소에도 널 걱정 내 길을 걸을 때 baby 위험하니까 꼭 안쪽으로 걸어
Your bridge to the world. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄꽃 축제부터 부산의 여름을 만끽하는 바다축제, 전 세계 영화인들이 모이는 부산국제영화제와 새로운 시작의 해맞이 축제까지. 부산의 축제는 우리의 열정을 가득 담고 있습니다. 바쁜 일상은 잠시 뒤로 하고 특별한 시간을 선물 받는 바로 이곳 부산에서 우리의 삶은 축제가 됩니다. 축제로 하나 되는 부산, 여러분은 어떤 축제를 기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
These are the guidelines for action for people in the event of an apartment building fire. First, if evacuation is possible in the event of a fire in your home, move to a safe place in a low posture by using stairs. And if evacuation is difficult, move to an evacuation space or block the door gap and call 119 for rescue. Second, if a fire breaks out in another home and no flames or smoke enters your home, wait inside the home, call 119, and act according to the announcement. Third, if flames and smoke come into your home in the event of a fire in another home, check to see if evacuation is possible and then evacuate or request rescue. This was brought to you by the Ministry of the Interior and Safety and the National Fire Agency.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning,
Dynamic Busan.
yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded.
What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It is now 8 o'clock, and this is news highlights. Trump orders probe on lumber imports for possible new tariffs. U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the Commerce Department to launch an investigation into the national security harm posed by lumber imports, laying the groundwork for new tariffs that could affect South Korea. Trump directed Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to initiate the probe, saying the United States faces significant vulnerabilities in the wood supply chain, with products being dumped onto the U.S. market. The investigation reportedly not only covers lumber imports, but also derivative products such as imports of South Korea's kitchen cabinets made of U.S. lumber that had been exported. Food expenses for lower income class jumped 40% over 5 years. Statistics Korea data showed people in the bottom 20% of the income bracket spent a monthly average of 434,000 won on food last year, according to the report yesterday, up by 38.6% from 2019 amid soaring food inflation. The food and beverage price index reached 129.9 in 2024. That is up 28.3% from 2019, outnumbering the 14.8% increase in South Korea's entire consumer price index. During the 5-year period, experts noted that the sharp rise in food prices has had a greater impact on lower-income individuals, as they typically spend a larger percentage of their income on food compared with the higher-income groups. Heavy snow and rain forecast for parts of South Korea. Heavy snow and rain are forecast for Gangwon, parts of Gyeonggi, Chungbuk, and Gyeongbuk today, with up to 5 centimeters per hour of wet snow. The southern regions of Chungnam, Jeolla, and Jeju will see heavy snow up to 20 millimeters per hour, with strong gusts of wind, thunder, and lightning. There is a high seas warning issued in parts of the East Sea and the South Sea. Seoul City and Gyeonggi-do Province have issued level 1 emergency modes for the government to clear the snow. Girl statue removed from German university to be reinstalled on Women's Day. A girl statue symbolizing victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery will be installed at a church in Germany next week 2 years after it was removed from the nearby University of Kassel, its original home. The Korean Council for Justice and Remembrance for the Issues of Military Sexual Slavery by Japan had claimed that the then Japanese Consul General had requested the university to remove the statue, saying it could incite anti-Japanese sentiment. The statue will be installed at a church on International Women's Day until June 1st as part of an exhibition highlighting crimes committed against women during World War II. UK announces European peace plan for Ukraine. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer unveiled a 4-step plan to guarantee peace in Ukraine following a summit with European leaders in London, along with a £1.6 billion export finance contract for Ukraine for its defense. European leaders, along with the Turkish and Canadian leaders at the summit, pledged their support for Ukraine following a surprise shouting match at the White House with U.S. President Donald Trump. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is meeting with King Charles III. And this was News Highlights. It's time for Wagga Wagga. Haley's back.
I'm back.
Yes. So, there's been this odd tradition in the last few years of a massive motorcycle race on the night of March 1st that really taunts the authorities, right?
Right, and maybe puts public in danger because, these motorcycles across roads. So this is what in Korea we call 폭주족, the motorcycle racers who take these joyrides across the country, but majorly in cities like Cheonan and Daegu. So these groups, they put on these stunts on national holidays that have a specific theme. So March 1st and August 15th, the Liberation Day. And they will do risky maneuvers on the streets. So, by the way, let's get into the legality of this. Under the current Road and Traffic Act, if at least 2 motorcycles or 2 cars trail each other, so they're one right in front of the other, or they go side by side without a justifiable reason and puts others at risk or creates traffic dangers, that is illegal. And those who do this may be subject to under 2 years in prison or under 5 million won in fines. So the police mobilized over 2,700 officers to crack down against these stunts, and as a result, caught 744 people. So these are just the people who are caught. So you can imagine how big of an operation it was. So the offenses included reckless driving, drunk driving. Actually, even in some cases, 9 cases of people have being driving without a license, illegal vehicle modifications, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
By the way, that figure of 744, that's about 40% higher than the number they caught last year. So the police are also cracking down against social media posts that kind of advertise these so-called events to mobilize people to join or invite people to watch.
Right. So, well, thanks for going over the details. Some people may be wondering, what's going on? Who are these people? And now we know. All right, let's bring it back to Busan for the next story. The Banyantree Hotel and Resort fire has burned a huge part of the buildings to the point that the hotel will not be able to open on schedule. But the members recently received a notice to pay the remainder of their membership fees.
To wrap up their contract. And I mean, you've driven past that site and you noted how burnt
it's not going to open on time. I just knew. I was just like, whoa.
No,
I kept on driving. I was like, okay, there's damage.
And you didn't even see the inside.
No,
this was
it's
just from the outside. Right. So Banyantree and Hotel, it's a little different from what we would imagine a hotel where you just walk in or make a reservation. A bulk of the operation is like a condo, like a condominium, where members pay a membership fee or shares, and then they can actually settle it kind of permanent ownership like an apartment almost. So the membership fees are far, far higher because you're actually owning property than what you would consider with other hotels, resorts, or even country clubs. So we're talking about hundreds of millions of won, su억 one. So prior to the accident, the fire, the deadline for the payment on the balance of the account on the remainder was the end of February, which is right around when the fire happened.
Yes.
But then the hotel's operator, Lupentis, it last week notified the members that they need to pay the remainder of the balance fee and also register 등기. So this, by the way, is happening as the contractor, Samjeong Group, has filed for corporate rehabilitation, 기업회생, which means that the construction company is under financial distress.
Oh, no.
So will it be able to continue? Like, what is going on? There are so many uncertainties.
Sure.
So Lupentis said as to why they are kind of gently pushing, nudging the members to finish the financial process is because to, number one, have the members pay the remainder of the fees to gain asset security. Because if the members pay the remainder, wrap up the contract, and register, then they are legal owners. So if anything happens, they actually have more security and more legal grounds for any compensations and whatnot. However, given the fact that the hotel definitely won't, I mean, they've never said it officially, but just realistically, they're not going to open on the scheduled date.
Right.
Members say that they were surprised and they have questions.
Oh, yes. I'm sure if I were one of those, my eyebrows would be like arched up to their like
you want me to do what?
Right. When we all know that it's not going to open on time. All right. This next story, I think we may be guilty of this, all guilty of this, screen time.
Okay.
On your devices.
Right, which is very much connected to our topic, and I didn't intend on this, but let's just pretend I did.
This weekend, I was so bad.
Were you?
But I have an excuse.
Do you, though? Do you?
I do, meaning I couldn't really cook after this.
Well, yeah.
And I couldn't bathe.
True.
Today was my first shower in since Friday.
Yikes.
I was so I was like so gross and disgusting. I was just like, just stay away from me. You know, cook, order in, just leave me alone.
Do whatever you want.
And I was on my device.
Which, you know, and here's the thing, like when I'm sick, I give myself like allowances.
Yeah.
But then
it was that kind of weekend.
9 a.m. every Sunday, my devices will do a little ping of your average screen time.
Yes.
And
guilt.
it ain't pretty. But especially YouTube.
Ah.
I mean, as I fully acknowledge the irony of us streaming on YouTube, and please subscribe, tell your friends, watch the entire show. But so how many times do you, the waivers, Catherine, 피디님, watch YouTube or other streaming platforms? I mean, more hours than I would like to acknowledge. Right. So IZ Network's mobile index, they released a survey last month. YouTube marked the longest usage hours for entire country of South Korea.
Really?
So YouTube is the most popular platform.
Oh.
Daily active users came to over 29.98 million. So almost 30 million. So this is like 3/5 of the country.
If you take out like all the kids, like the baby toddler kids, that's like the entire country.
That's like the adults, all the adults. With an average person having watched YouTube for about 140 minutes per day. So 2 hours and 20 minutes.
My maximum is like 20 when I'm looking for my my cat's clip.
Right, cat's pick.
Yeah. The name changes. It's Cat's Pick now. Okay.
That clip. Right. So Sundays were the longest, which makes sense. We're not so active at 150 minutes, 2.5 hours. So once again, 3 out of 5 South Koreans are watching about 2 hours, at least 2 hours of YouTube per day. And these may be interestingly concentrated on shorts.
Really?
Right, because another platform, Instagram, which also has short form videos, it showed a high usage rate of about 50 minutes per day. And by the way, compared to like the demographic that uses Instagram versus YouTube, that's still quite a bit.
Yes.
So on the contrary, people were using less and less, or at least clocking fewer hours on Naver and Kakao, which are more text-based. Although some of them, actually both of them, are trying to really get their video platforms going. So this is actually creating notable trends with the tech industry, with domestic platforms spending resources to boost their video aspect of it. But what kind of impact does that have on our attention span, mental health? Well, I'm going to toss that to our expert for our special interview.
That's coming up. We might all feel a little guilty right now. But what do you guys watch on NoTube? Because like I said, I searched for Cat's Pick and that's it on NoTube.
I have a couple. So I'm not a huge NoTube watcher. I mean, can I I watch myself on YouTube. Like I call that monitoring, but I also call that like that's my ego.
Monitoring.
Yeah. I watch us, and then well, because you're here, obviously, and then I watch us, you and me. And then there are a couple of videos that I watch for like informational stuff.
Okay.
And then when I'm on my stationary bike at the gym.
Yes.
That's when I allow myself to watch shorts because I'm like, if I'm going to put myself through physical pain,
give me something like
distraction.
Yeah. I get it. Okay, well, moving on. Lastly, starting this month, oh my God, it's March. The government.
It's March.
Yes, it is March. March started already. The government has imposed stronger regulations on portable batteries and those power banks on airplanes, right? On flights.
Right. So this is following the Air Busan fire. So this is only for domestic airlines, at least so far. Yes, you can have portable batteries, but only up to a certain size.
Yes.
So the most common ones, the smaller ones with like a single full charge, they're about 100 watt hours or WH. You can carry up to 5 of those on the plane. But if they exceed 160 watt per hour, you cannot bring them on board. So the larger battery packs that you use to charge like laptops and tablets, no.
Okay.
And all of those battery packs, for carrying 5 of them, they must be carried on in person and do not put them up on the overhead bin. Also, how you carry them in, you have 3 options.
Okay.
Number 1, put each of those battery packs in individual clear bags or protective pouches. So if you're carrying 5, you need to have 5 separate bags. Or, so it's not and, it's or.
Or.
2, if you're not going to have them in a bag, put the black electrical tape over the ports. So it's a port for the in and out.
Okay.
But if they come with protective caps, then you're fine. Just carry them in.
Sure.
But then a lot of them will have both 8-pin and the C-type. So the C-type will have a protective cap, but the 8-pin will just be lying there out.
Yeah.
So put on electrical tape over that.
Got it.
During the flight, you have them either on you or stored in the seat back pocket of the seat in front of you. You may not charge the battery itself using the USB on your seat. If you feel the battery pack heating up or swelling up, notify the flight attendants immediately. I mean, they do have fire extinguisher on board to take care of that. Again, these are, for now, only for domestic airlines. But if that Air Busan fire is proven to have started because of a portable battery, then the government will request the foreign airline companies to comply with these regulations as well.
I see. Well, thank you for all the woggly news. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't give spoilers to us for the movie. And we'll check in with you tomorrow.
We'll see. Bye-bye.
Everybody, this was Haley. Oh, yeah, 얄미워요. Okay. Well, here's your traffic and weather. It's time for your traffic update. Right now, the roads are clearer than usual on account of this being a public holiday, but there's still some traffic on the Dongsa overpass from Sasang to Hakjang in that direction. Also looking slow on Pansonglo from Kumsa to Seokdae intersection. Also congested on Jungangdaero from Seomyeon intersection to Songgong three-way intersection, both directions. As for the weather, it is drizzling across Busan and even snow in some parts. And let me know if it's snowing in your neck of the woods, with current temperatures at 2 degrees Celsius. But heavy winds are bringing down the real full temperatures. It feels like -3 right now. The daytime high will go up to 7 degrees. Across the nation, again, heavy snow in the northern parts of the country. This is going to be wet snow, so it's not like the dry, flaky snow coming down. The snow and rain are reducing visibility and making the roads really slippery. So please take extra precautions as you drive. This was your traffic and weather.
Beautiful girls all over.
And this is Nothing on You by B.O.B. featuring Bruno Mars.
But my time would be wasted. They got nothing on you, baby. Nothing on you, baby. They might say hi, and I might say hey, but you shouldn't worry about what they say, 'cause they got nothing on you. living in this on my son. And so I lost more than I had ever won. And honestly, I ended up with none. There's so much nonsense that's on my conscience. I'm thinking maybe I should get it out. And I don't want to sound redundant, but I was wondering if there was something that you want to know. But never mind that, we should let it go. Cause we don't want to be a TV episode. And all the bad thoughts, just let it go. Go. Beautiful girls all over the world. I could be chasing, but my time would be wasted. They got nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. They might say hi, and I might say hey, but you shouldn't worry about what they say, cause they got nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Hands down, there will never be another one. I've been around and I never seen another one. Because your style ain't really got nothing on. And you out when you ain't got nothing on. Baby, you the whole package. Plus you pay your taxes. And you keep it real while the mothers stay plastic. You're my Wonder Woman, call me Mr. Fantastic. Stop. Now think about it. I've been to London, I've been to Paris, even where there in Tokyo. Back home down in Georgia, to New Orleans, but you always did the show. And just like that, girl, you got me froze. Like a Nintendo 64. If you never knew, well, now you know. No. Beautiful girls all over the world. I could be chasing, but my time would be wasted. They got nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. They might say hi, and I might say hey, but you shouldn't worry about what they say, cause they got nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Everywhere I go, I'm always hearing your name. And no matter where I'm at, girl, you make me wanna sing. Whether a bus or a plane, or a car or a train, no other girls on my brain, and you the one to blame. Beautiful girls all over the world. I could be chasing, but my time would be wasted. They got nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. They might say hi, and I might say hey, but you shouldn't worry about what they say, cause they got nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Nothing on you. Nothing on you, babe. Nothing on you. Yeah. And that's just how we do it. And I'm gonna let this ride. D.O.B. and Bruno Mars.
All right, listeners, here are your responses to the text topic. I asked you, what do you love or feel proud about South Korea? And so Benny says, I think the culture and then its rich history of every place and the reason. Well, let me enjoy to dedicate it to me to have a deep respect to love South Korea. So Benny, as many of you know, is in the Philippines listening to us. And Ben, who's in Europe, who says, BEFM, oh, thank you. Korean barbecue stews like jjigae and side dishes are great. William from San Francisco. I love South Korea because of Busan, an amazing, eclectic community of outstanding human beings, most of whom work for BEFM and Morning Wave. Aw, so specific. Thank you, William. That's awfully sweet. And then Michael Kim says, I guess our health insurance system, which actually Michael Kang, he also mentioned, one of the best among all nations. When one of my American friends who's an immigrant in the U.S. visited Korea last month, he was shocked regarding the cheap price of medication. There is, I guess, apparently still a big gap between medical services rendered here and abroad, or at least with the United States. So that's a snapshot into your minds of what you said about your love of South Korea. I have to say, you guys took all the good answers already. I definitely wanted to say what I love about South Korea is definitely the Cheong and the people. The Cheong. How do you describe Cheong? It's that special connection that runs deep, far deeper than just like, oh, hello to your neighbors. And by the way, to all my neighbors in my building, you guys are so sweet. 정말 인사 항상 해요. Like 서로. I have no idea who they are, but everybody makes it a point. Always, it's not just like a slight bow. They always say like, oh, 안녕하세요, 잘 가세요, like really, really friendly. I love that. And the fact like, you go to the traditional markets, you can feel the tongue there. When you're sometimes, haggling over the quality of something or like over the price, it's expected, by the way. We're not being disrespectful when we haggle at the traditional markets. You can definitely feel it there and just, helping each other out in a neighborly way, which is so, I guess, rare in today's day and age. But it's still here. So that's what I love. Maybe, is it just Busan? I'm not quite sure. I haven't lived extensively in Seoul for a while, but I can definitely feel it here in Busan. So thank you for that. And for now, we're going to get to our special interview. A recent study found that blocking internet access on smartphones for 2 weeks significantly reduced depressive symptoms, improved attention spans, and enhanced overall well-being, effects comparable to antidepressant medication. As digital devices become more embedded in our daily lives, the findings raise important questions about the psychological cost of constant connectivity. How does the smartphone usage of all of us impact mental health? And what can be done to mitigate its negative effects? We're going to explore this study's implications and strategies for achieving a healthier balance in the digital age. So joining us is Dr. Judith Joseph, psychiatrist at New York University Langone Medical Center and the author of High Functioning, Overcome Hidden Depression and Reclaim Your Joy. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So this recent study that I just mentioned in the intro, apparently it found that the reduction or the drop in depressive symptoms was comparable to or even greater than that seen in studies on antidepressant medication. So what I just said, Dr. Joseph, is this accurate, or can you maybe give us further details? What do you think?
So the study wasn't looking at people who have depression. So it's different than saying that it's as effective as an antidepressant, because those studies looking at antidepressant medication look at treating depression. But what the study is suggesting or referring to are symptoms of depression improving. So some of the symptoms of depression are things like poor sleep, poor concentration, low energy. Symptoms of depression like that were seen to improve when people were not on their phones all the time. And it's thought that because they were more active in things that make you happy, like being with people, being in nature, getting movement, and not being stuck on the phone, it's thought that that was likely the cause of these depression symptoms improving.
Yes. Thanks for clarifying. Once again, we're talking about depressive symptoms, not depression itself. So
correct.
The study also found that that attention spans seem to improve as well with, some, I guess, according to the study, effects comparable to feeling a decade younger. What does this say about maybe the cognitive toll of constantly being on our smartphones? Like they're basically attached to our hands at this point.
Yes, because we have become so conditioned to having our phones. And the study also cites other studies that show that even having your phone in your presence makes you feel distracted, because that is how conditioned we are to looking at our phones. And when your brain doesn't have that drain or that extra effort of having to multitask, right? If you're doing one task and then you have a phone distracting you, have another device, you're putting such an effort on your brain that taking away these things that weigh on your brain, that gives your brain extra tasks, is almost like, having your brain age in reverse because you have an improvement in your brain's ability to perform.
And the sad thing is, Dr. Joseph, is that many people say it like very nonchalantly, like, oh, I'm so addicted to my phone, or I'm addicted to, this device, or being on it all the time. They feel like they're addicted to their smartphones, but they do also struggle to kind of disconnect, to put it down, put it away, even if it's for a few hours or even for an entire day. So what psychological mechanisms make it so difficult to reduce screen time?
When you're looking at your phone and you're getting entertainment, you're getting boosts of a chemical called dopamine, which is the happy, joyful chemical. But, something similar to that happens when people get a boost of drugs. When people are dependent on habit-forming drugs, they also get a boost of dopamine. So when people are addicted to behaviors like looking at a phone, they have a similar mechanism in the brain where their brain is getting this reward. It's not to the same level of a drug, but you have a similar mechanism that you're getting this boost from this drug that's your phone. But over time, you need more and more of this drug, which is the phone, to get the same high. And that's why you tend to get what people call addicted, where they feel very agitated when they don't have their phone. They get very anxious. And in the study, the people, they said that they knew their phones were a problem. There are other studies that say people know that their phones are a problem, but just like how people who are addicted to drugs know that the drug is a problem, they still can't get rid of it because of that addiction. So it is a problem because then your brain kind of becomes numb to regular joy, right? The joy of walking outside, the joy of being around others, the joy of talking to others. And that's something that I study, and it's called anhedonia, which is a condition or a symptom when your brain no longer derives pleasure and joy from things that once gave it pleasure and joy.
This is so important because, we want to, I'm sure most of our listeners will agree, we want to be better. We want to put the smartphone away, and we want to be, disconnect, as they say. But we do need smartphones and devices for work and for, daily tasks and what have you. So how can people set realistic boundaries in order to protect, basically their mental health?
The really interesting thing about this study was that they didn't take the phones away from people, right? Because when you take phones away, that creates anxiety in itself. What they did was that they changed the settings on the phone so that the phones didn't have access to internet.
Yes.
And the thing that makes the phones very habit forming or addictive these days is because it's so seamless to get connected to the internet. So you can search online for days, right? But when you make the phone essentially like a basic flip phone or like the old fashioned phones that we used to have that didn't connect to internet, then it doesn't become as addictive. It's not as seamless. Right. And, if you think about technology as a drug, the drugs that have the most potential for addiction are drugs that are easy to use and easy to access. Well, when you make a phone's technology less easy to access, then it's harder to use it. And so one way that people can take control is to change the settings on their phone so that they don't have access to the internet all the time, or take breaks away from the phone so that you set aside time in your day to get a movement break, to be away from your phone when you're eating, right? Many of us eat in front of our screens, but when you're engaging in activities like talking to a loved one or listening to music, don't look at the phone. But we've become so accustomed to eating, talking to people, watching movies, and using our phones at the same time that we need to make it more simple for our brains.
Right. So I was laughing to myself as you were speaking because I see so many even, young kids. They have multiple devices out. They have the TV going on, they have the phone, and they have the pad. And it's I don't even know, how can you pay attention to three different devices and eat at the same time? It kind of still amazes me, but I fully get your point on Dr. Joseph. So if we refer to your book, High Functioning, Overcome Hidden Depression and Reclaim Your Joy, this is about how setting boundaries with technology can actually enhance mental health. So can you give us an overview and your ideas behind this thought?
Well, my book is looking at people who tend to become very busy and very productive and they can't just slow down. And one of the habits that I talk about in this book is the work-life balance, but also the unhealthy relationship with technology that people who have high functioning depression tend to busy themselves. So they're constantly in front of screens. They're constantly on the phone. But when you make your life more simple and you take these breaks and you actually enjoy being a human, right? You're a human being, not a human doing. Then you're engaging in the activities that make life worth living, like having a meal, feeling connected, being in nature and feeling grounded and really paying attention to the beauty around you. These are all the small points of joy that we kind of take for granted. And that's why many of us feel so numb and many of us feel so disinterested and unhappy these days because we're not tapping into the simple points of joy that we are supposed to be tapping into as human beings.
Yes, yes. Well, what about the whole idea of kind of retraining the brain to find joy in some of the offline activities like you just mentioned, Dr. Joseph, that it can have an even antidepressant effect? Can you expand on this?
Yeah, so in the study, when they looked at people and they took the phone's capacity to access the internet away, people actually spent more time in nature. They spent more time resting and sleeping. They spent more time being social with others and doing hobbies and activities that they used to do more of before the phones were in the picture. So when you are actively in these activities that give you many sensations, right? You're stimulating all of your senses, not just one, right? Then you are releasing dopamine from your brain in different ways. So your brain is getting that full experience of joy and you start to feel again, right? And that's what the study was showing. And a lot of the tips in my book talk about how you can do these things to retrain your brain so that you can tap into joy again.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for expanding on the ideas, not just from your book, but answering all of our questions, because it's so hard. Like some of our listeners are chiming in. They know it, but it's so difficult to do. But I think you gave them some concrete ideas on how to do that. For example, once again, disconnecting at least from the internet for small spurts. I think we can all do that. So thank you for your time and advice.
Thank you. It was my pleasure being here.
This was Dr. Judith Joseph, and we talked about putting your phone down. It's tough. I'm guilty of it. I'm sure you are as well. But, you know, as she just said, if we can just maybe disconnect even from the internet, make it harder on ourselves to be in that mode where we're, you know, was it doom scrolling, you know, just scrolling the whole time, being on the internet the entire day. I feel so guilty because, yeah, I did it this past weekend. But hey, it's Monday. We can start anew. So this was your special interview. Let's get to our next song. This is 잘 살고 있지롱 by 윤단단. Is this how it's called?
나 어린 시절에 저 깊고 깊은 산중에 한 마리 호랑이를 보았지. 나 사람들에게 호랑이가 나타났어요. 빨리 도망가라고 말했네. 사람들은 다들 도망치고 이젠 빛바랜 한 장면 추억으로 어디선가 마치 무용담처럼 얘기하겠지. 사람들은 나를 떠올리며 그 소녀는 분명 잡아먹혔을 거라고 생각하겠지만 난 잘 살고 있지롱. 시절에 저 넓고 넓은 바다에 한 마리 고래를 보았지. 나 사람들에게 고래가 나타났어요. 빨리 일로 와보라 말했네. 사람들은 다들 다가오며 그래 고래는 대체 어딨냐고 내게 물어 있었지만 꼴에는 이미 사라졌었지 사람들은 나를 가리키며 이 소녀는 정말 거짓말쟁이라고 나를 다 욕했지만 난 분명히 봤지 long time ago 내가 아주 어릴 때 들었었던 얘기지 long time ago 내가 아주 어릴 때 난 분명히 봤지 long time ago 내가 아주 어릴 때 들었었던 얘기지 long time ago 내가 아주 어릴 때 난 분명히 봤지롱 난 잘 살고 있지롱
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
It's time for Business Perspectives, which means Bobby's here. Hello.
Good morning, Catherine.
I hope you had a good weekend.
It was very uneventful, yes.
Oh, really?
That's okay, yes. But it was, well, at work, it was busy. You know, a lot of people are traveling. Final travel before the, you know, with the red day today and then before the start of school. So a lot of people traveling.
Oh,
I know, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought that up. I should have.
Sorry. I mean, I love teaching. I love it.
Yes, you do. I could tell.
I do. I really do.
Yes. You got to remind yourself.
I got to like brainwash myself.
That's right.
I always ask myself, like,
what?
if radio paid me double, would I quit my would I quit my day job?
Wow.
My teaching job?
That's a good question.
The answer is yes.
Oh, wow.
피디님, 저 학교 일 그만두게 좀 해주세요. 힘 좀 써봐주세요.
Wow.
No. Oh, I
love that.
Yeah, students listening. Oh, what if like admin's listening from school?
But you're a professional, so
Yes.
you know you do your job.
I'll
and do your
turn it
job
on
well.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
That's how it works. Yeah,
Ready to go. All right.
Holy cow!
So our text topic today, because it was 3일절 Saturday, obviously we have the day off because of that today, substitute holiday.
Yes.
The question was this: what do you love about South Korea? What are you like really proud of? Some things people have mentioned: the healthcare system. People love here in Korea. People love what else? I said 정, that like very Korean 정.
Yeah.
And so what is something that you really love about South Korea?
Obviously, things. Well, a few things. Sorry, things get done so quickly around here. So that is so nice from a convenience perspective. Whether it's administrative, like you got to go to a government office to get like some kind of paperwork, it gets done really quick. You know,
It's so quick.
it's very quick. Like, and I'll tell you, in general, a lot of the folks that work in these establishments have relatively high sense of responsibility.
Right.
As opposed
Relatively.
to where I'm from in the States, it's like, yeah, it's not my job. You got to go over to the next desk over there and wait another hour.
I had to jump through hoops to get my kids like birth certificates from California.
Yes.
I sent my dad and his grandfather, so he had to go to a notary public, and get it notarized, certifying that he is grandpa.
Yeah.
And it was like pulling teeth. Like
Yes. So.
Oh, it was so.
Here, it's beautiful in that respect.
And a lot of stuff you can get online.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
another one I do like about the culture here, I was so pleasantly surprised because we had, when we came to visit, we had young children. I remember my wife was getting onto the airport limousine.
Yes.
And we had so much luggage. Some person just out of the blue grabbed our daughter out of my wife's hands.
Oh.
And I was like,
and it wasn't kidnapping.
No.
Because
So that's kind of like that Jung that you're talking about.
Right, the
You know,
Jung.
like in the States, that person would be in big trouble.
That's what I'm saying. Like
you're not touching our kid.
And where are you taking my daughter, right? My kid, right? Oh, the youngest.
But here it was like,
Right.
yeah, 봐줄게요. I was like, wow, very nice.
Yes, that's that tongue.
Yeah, very trusting.
Right.
So,
all right.
that's it.
So, no. Thank you for sharing.
No, it's
Let's
good
get into part 2 of Charlie. Was it Javis?
Yes. And the company that she founded, which is Frank. And, we left off last week on a cliffhanger. if you remember.
Cliffhanger. That was my word for the day.
Cliffhanger.
Yes.
Now,
Dun.
we will pick up where we left off. But before we get there, we'll give a little bit of a background.
Sure.
Just to get everyone up to
Slight
speed.
recap.
Okay. So, Charlie Javis. So how did she get her start and how did the company grow? So in 2016, at the tender age of 24, after she graduated from university, she founded a company called Javis. And, the company called Frank. And the company's objective was to assist student borrowers in obtaining loans and financial aid. So for kids that were on their way to university that needed to take loans out, it's a very cumbersome process, lots of questions, and they wanted to make it as efficient as possible, right? And it was a free website. Guided students through the online FAFSA application, helping applicants complete more than 100 questions within a few minutes. So in 2016, that they got started and they launched. Now, as with any startup, there's some bumps in the road. So in 2017, the U.S. Department of Education accused the company of potentially misleading customers to believe it was affiliated with the U.S. government based on their URL. And so they made a settlement, and they were forced to change their website from frankfafsa.com to just frank.com.
Right. Once again, it sounds like you're affiliated.
Yes,
right.
yes.
So you have it
now, there was another bump in the road in 2017 when a co-founder and chief technology officer, Adi Amsi, sued Ms. Javis and the company for wage theft and to failure to award the promised equity.
Ooh.
So according to the court order, Mr. Amsi received $35,000 in compensation. Okay, so now jump ahead 2 years from inception. In January 2018, the company raised $10 million in funding from investors like WeWork and Lemonade. And at that time, they had 18 full-time employees in the States, USA, and in Israel.
Yes.
So a lot of growth.
Right.
And, people are getting there to throw their money at them saying, hey, we like your concept. We like what you're doing. Now, during this time, also, Ms. Javis, as a founder, a meteoric rise in terms of overall popularity. By 2021, she was lauded as a business visionary. And she had also a lot of personal recognition. In 2019, named in Forbes 30 Under 30.
Yes.
As well in the same year in Crane's New York Business 40 Under 40. So a lot of spotlight on her.
Now, let's jump forward because I want to hear about after the cliffhanger. William saying, I've been on the edge of this cliffhanger since last Monday.
William, I love it. Okay, here we go. So in the summer of 2021, 5 years after the company was founded, Ms. Javis approached the bank J.P. Morgan for a potential acquisition. Now, that fall is when it happened. The bank acquired the company for $175 million.
Right.
And, hey. Now, why did that acquisition make sense for the bank? Well, they really wanted to deepen their ties with college students as potential customers.
Because if you've never been on a university campus in America, you know what I'm talking about. As soon as 1학년 되면요, 줄 서 있어요. Credit card companies. Like their little tents or their booths, right?
Yes.
And they all want to get a credit card in your hand.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So what a great way. Not only does a bank know that they're borrowers for college loans, but they will be borrowers in the future.
Right.
So now there was issues with this acquisition.
Okay, why?
And this is the reason why we're coming to what we're coming to. Was it deception? Or was it buyer's remorse?
Oh, what happened?
So, from a deception perspective.
Okay.
Now, in December 2022, the bank sued Javis and Frank's chief growth officer, Olivia Amar, for fraud.
Fraud, 사기. Ooh, why?
So, the allegations is that the company lied to the bank by making up millions of fake student accounts. to show that they had a very successful growing business.
Oh, that's like. But when you buy or acquire or, a company, you assume that that information is correct.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Now, according to the lawsuit, in the details,
okay,
Judith claimed that Frank had 4.25 million users, while in reality, the company had fewer than 300,000. So less than 10% of what was claimed.
That's a big difference. It's not just like there was a typo.
Yes.
And like there was like a couple.
Yes.
Fake
Little
accounts.
error there.
Right.
According to the lawsuit, Judith and Amar paid a data science professor $18,000 to create a list of fake user-generated names and addresses, in addition to purchasing a list of 4.5 million student names from a marketing firm. Now, this was all after the acquisition. So
yes.
How did the bank?
How did they find out?
So the bank usually does a lot of email marketing campaigns.
Yes.
And they did one targeting these group of students.
But the fake email
when they
addresses,
sent out the email,
the mass emails, what happened?
70% of the addresses were not successfully delivered.
Ooh, big red flag.
and even more of a red flag because the bank's usual marketing campaigns, 99% go through without any errors.
So they instantly knew.
Right there. And
there is something seriously wrong.
Seriously wrong. So the lawsuit was, they filed the lawsuit in December 2022. But before, obviously, they already suspended Miss Judith because they knew something was funny. They suspended her September of 2022 and also terminated her for cause in November.
Ooh, means she was fired, right?
Gone. Yes. So jealous. Jealous.
So that's the deception side.
Yes.
What about the other side?
Okay.
Buyer's remorse side.
So from Ms. Judith and the Frank Company.
Yes.
So Ms. Judith's legal team is arguing that JP Morgan's claim stems from buyer's remorse.
We got to explain what this is to our Korean listeners.
Yeah.
So buyer's remorse, what is it? Basically,
so it's like you bought something, but then you feel like you didn't get a good deal on it, and then you kind of start feeling mad or sad.
네.
You kind of want to
후회를 하는 거예요. 뭘 사고 나서 you're like, why did I buy that?
Yes.
이거 별론데.
Yes.
Like, okay, buyer's remorse. Yes.
Now, her legal team said the bank was provided all the data up front for the purchase of the company. And Ms. Judith did highlight the restrictions placed by student privacy laws during due diligence.
Due diligence. Meaning when you're acquiring a company, like company A, they need to probe into, investigate, look at all the numbers.
Absolutely.
See, you got to do your fiduciary duty.
Yes. So, at least a few month process. So you could see it from both perspectives. Is it fraud or is it really, hey, did you not do your homework, right? And the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, has called this acquisition, a huge mistake.
Okay.
Now, $175 million acquisition. It's huge, right? It's a good amount of money.
Right.
But very relatively modest compared to some of the larger deals in the financial industry where it's in the billions, right? But this acquisition stands out not for just the size of the deal, but for the controversy that surrounds it.
Right.
The allegations of fraud, also the risks associated with smaller, high-growth startups.
Sure.
Right, it's risky. So larger deals like banks would make in the past are with more established companies and more extensive due diligence, which would mitigate a lot of the risks. So comes the question whether they did all that with this much smaller deal.
I'm thinking some heads ruled at JP Morgan.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because
she got
regardless,
terminated, but
not just her, but like on the bank side, whoever was
the
doing,
M&A team,
somebody. Well, someone's not getting a promotion at least,
or at least a bonus.
Yes. So what's going on? Because there's a court case, right?
Yes, the court case. So it started a little over a week ago on the 21st of February.
Sure.
So we want to stay tuned. Now, experts are really watching this trial, and the outcome, it could set some precedent on how fraud cases involving startups and acquisitions are handled, right? Really shows the vulnerabilities in the startup ecosystem where rapid growth and aggressive valuations often overshadow rigorous scrutiny. And some pointed to the factors that contributed to the scandal. So we know this term, fake it till you make it, in the startup world, right?
They really faked it.
Yes, they
That's like
did.
an understatement.
Yeah, but like it drives maybe some unethical behavior. Why? Because you want to get funding, you want to grow high, you want to sell off the company, right? So there's a lot of pressure. Now, if Miss Javis is found guilty of deception and creating this fake data, she could be sentenced to years in prison.
Ooh.
So stay tuned.
Yes. And we got to get to phrase of the week.
Yes.
We got to learn something from this, right?
Yes, the phrase of the week. Trust but verify.
Trust but verify. Okay.
Yeah, this phrase means have faith in someone or something, but still take steps to double check and ensure everything is accurate and as expected.
That's true.
It's a great learning lesson in this case for the bank prior to acquisitions. And at times we're so enamored with the potential that we may loosen up on our own due diligence, not take that extra step to double check.
Yes.
And even in my current work, and we talked about Jung.
Yes.
There's a very trusting society and a very trusting spirit. So, even in our line of work with our suppliers, we trust them a lot, right? And for 95% of the cases, everything works out well. But it's the small instances where when you might feel burned, you might not feel good and question yourself on why you didn't take that extra step to make sure, right, and beat yourself up. So I'm a firm believer in trust but verify. So I encourage all of our waivers out there this week in our everyday lives, whether personal or professional, take that extra step, ask that extra question, ensure you know fully and understand what you're getting into.
Yes.
Just a little reminder as we start off the week.
I love it. Trust but verify. All right. Short and sweet. But thank you for giving us a conclusion to this cliffhanger. Absolutely. And we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Bobby.
Have a great week, everyone.
All right. It is time to say goodbye on this holiday of 3.1절, the substitute holiday. So I wish you the best for today. Be safe out there. This is 선인장 by Epitone Project with 심규선. Enjoy. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
햇볕이 잘 드는 그 어느 곳이든 잘 놓아두고서 한 달에 한 번만 잊지 말아줘. 물은 모자란 듯하게만 주고 차가운 모습에 무심해 보이고 가시가 돋아서 어둡게 보여도 걱정하지 마. 이내 예쁜 꽃을 피울 테니까 언젠가 마음이 다치는 날이 있다거나 이유 없는 눈물이 흐를 때면 나를 기억해. 그대의 작은 위로가 되어줄게. 내 머리 위로 눈물을 떨고 속상했던 마음들까지도 웃는 모습이 비출 때까지 소리 없이 머금고 있을게. 그때가 우리 함께 했었던 날 그때가 다시는 올 수 없는 날이 되면 간직했었던 그대의 눈물 안고 봄에 서 있을게.